Hi there. If you love this podcast, you're going to love my weekly free publication. It's called Work Fame. It's on Substack. Link to it in the show notes or visit workfa.me to sign up. I look forward to engaging with you there and bringing you really valuable content every week. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the First Time Facilitator podcast. Whether you're a first-time facilitator or a seasoned pro, listen in for tips and tricks to make a bigger impact at the next workshop you deliver. And now, your host, Leanne Hughes.
I'm absolutely delighted to welcome back to the show Neen James, a leadership strategist, a dynamic keynote speaker, and the author of Folding Time, Attention Pays, and her new book out now called Exceptional Experiences. If you've ever seen Neen in action, you'll know what I mean when I say she's pure energy and light. She's a confidant to C-suite leaders around the world, helping them elevate experiences, sharpen communication, and increase their influence. She's worked with powerhouse brands like Viacom, the Four Seasons, and even the FBI, and was recently appointed to the board of the World Luxury Chamber of Commerce. In this chat, we explore what true luxury really means and why it's not about expensive things, but about human connection. We talk about how to create champagne moments in everyday life, those small, thoughtful touches that make people feel seen, heard, and valued. We also dive into how your energy sets a tone in every room, how facilitators can use all five senses to elevate experiences, and how subtle shifts in language can instantly change how others perceive your brand. You can find her work at neenjames.com. Neen is smart, hilarious, and totally grounded, so grab your coffee or your champagne and enjoy the episode. I am delighted to welcome back onto the podcast Neen James. Neen, it's just wonderful seeing you today. Listeners, please watch the YouTube video of this because Neen is just light, radiant, dynamic. Thanks for joining us.
G'day. What a privilege to be back. It is so great to be talking to you and your listeners. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And last time we spoke, it was about your book, Attention Pays. You've had just a tremendous run, and I'm loving following your Instagram. But I want to kick off this book. It's called Exceptional Experiences. But I have to quote the great Taylor Swift, right? And she said recently, you should think of your energy as it's expensive, as if it's a luxury item. Not everyone can afford it. Interesting definition around luxury. What do you think about that, Neen?
I laugh because I must have got like 30 people sent me that the moment she said it. So my DMs blew up in the best possible way. So what I love is, what was really cute too, is so many people were saying to me, Neen, you've been saying this for years, but having the amplification of, someone I deeply admire for how she is as a businesswoman besides her musical ability. I do think that it's true. I think, you may remember my really early work. I wrote a book called Folding Time. And in the book, I said, you can't manage time. You can manage your attention. And attention management was something I became very focused on. And then when I wrote Attention Pays, when you and I were together last time, which is a long time ago, I was saying that it's the intention that makes attention valuable. And attention's about connection. What I realized as I started working with so many luxury and legacy brands is that it's really just the evolution of my work, Leanne, that luxury really is about human connection. So it's about all the things I've been talking about, but in the luxury world, where my perspective, I think, is different to maybe others, is that I think that true luxury is about people feeling seen, heard, and valued. And I believe, and my research study shows this, that luxury is about experiences, not things. So if you're a facilitator and you're hosting an event for people, the experience you create, that's the luxury, right? Because luxury can be quite divisive as a word. Some people think it's elitist or unapproachable or expensive. And the reality is we get the opportunity to create an experience, and it could be a no-cost luxury experience.
I just love your take on this. And I'm even thinking about just those, daily moments where there's a bit of luxury embedded in. There's a cafe I go to, and the cafe owner, she'll see me walking up with my dogs and, run out, get the dog bowl, fill it up with water, take it out for us. It's a beautiful.
I love that. I call that a champagne moment in the book. So here's what a champagne moment is.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't have to be literal champagne for your dogs. It's their water bowl. But a champagne moment is something that takes the ordinary and makes it extraordinary, right? It's like these things that bring you joy and make you smile in your day. So think about how all of us can create champagne moments every day. It could be drinking your coffee out of a Tiffany teacup because you want to be fancy. It could be about putting your sparkling water in a lovely glass instead of a plastic cup. Like whatever's going to make it elevated for you. And if any of you are listening or watching and you have a champagne moment, tag me, #champagne moments. Like imagine if we could think of it like kind of like bubbles in a champagne glass. Think of them all as like these little joy bubbles, right? All these joy bubbles you could bring every day, just like the barista does for you, because you feel seen. They see your furry babies and they want to recognize them. That's a really great way to be able to help create a champagne moment.
Yeah, when I saw Champagne Moment, so about 20 years ago, I played in this netball team and it was all old friends. We'd played as kids together and we thought, look, we're just going to get together. We're not going to train, but every Saturday we'll just show up and play. And on our training shirts, on our match day shirts on the back, it just had Champagne Saturday. It was just our way of connecting with each other.
I approve of this post. I love this.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
It could be literal champagne. It could be sparkling water. It could be like whatever your beverage of choice, right?
But champagne always. But yeah, of course, sparkling water is also.
You know what's really funny? As an Aussie, when I moved to the US over 20 years ago now, people would take the drink order, right? And people would be like, what do you want to drink? People would say water, iced tea, iced tea, iced tea. And I'd be like, champagne. And people would say, what are you celebrating? I was like, life. Like that's my drink. And in Australia, it's so common to order a glass of champagne and real champagne.
Yes.
And that was something that's only shifted in the US kind of more recently, where there is such a better variety and all of those type of things. So it's really it's interesting in Oz. We're so far advanced when it comes to that.
Well, actually, it's funny. I was in New York a couple of years ago. I don't know if you know Jenny Blake, but we were hanging out.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah, so we were at Soho House on the balcony. It's a Sunday afternoon, and and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, we need to get champagne. And she's like, what? And I was like, oh my gosh, am I like that drunk Aussie bogan that that does this? Because like, this is a champagne moment. Like it was such a beautiful autumn day. Yeah.
I'm here for that. And for all of the people listening and reading and watching, find your champagne moments every day, because what it does is it allows us to look for those opportunities of joy and then smile and make other people feel that same thing. So champagne moments easy, especially if you're an Aussie.
Yes. I've got to ask you now, I definitely want to talk about how do we bring more of that into our workshops and events that we run. You do a lot of work with high-end clients. I'm just so curious to see how you do that. But also an interesting point around the world that we're in now. It doesn't, like, sometimes I seem like, am I too joyful? Am I too positive? Like, should I rein this in? I don't know if you feel that, Neen, but like I think it's important that you're doing this work because we need this lightness in the world. What's your perspective on that? It's kind of like yeah.
I mean, at the time of recording, I'm in America. Okay. So there's nothing like it on the planet right now, right? Regardless of whatever your beliefs and systems are. And as an Aussie living in the US, I'm an Australian citizen, but I became an American citizen as well. So I have dual citizenship. One of the things that I think is really important is that now the world needs positivity and that optimism more than it's ever needed it before, because there are so many things that are outside of our control, things that we really literally can't control and that we might be worried about. But what we can do is we can control how we react to things. We can control how we make people feel seen, how they feel heard and valued. And so I would always caution anyone who is being encouraged to dim their light. That phrase is really interesting to me. I just think that that's rubbish. Like, stop. Yeah. And I think there is a challenge where platforms like social media use phrases like toxic positivity or whatever they call it, right? So that's, and I think that you can't just say everything's going to be okay. And like, one of the things I love about Australia is we're like, she'll be right, mate. Like, we'll work it out. Like, no worries. It's a part of our vernacular as Australians. And I think you have to have a practical reality and a component to that. But I love my Pollyanna view of the world. I love having rosy colored glasses. I love being the most positive person in the room. I'm always in pink. I'm 4'10" and a half. I sound like I'm 5. Like, you couldn't get more of like a little positive like pocket, right? I also get to consult with CEOs of luxury and legacy brands from around the world, where I may not look the part that they used to, right? In my little pink suit, but I can still provide the advice and guidance they need to facilitate the strategic conversations, just like your listeners do, right? But I do believe people will gravitate to you if you can be the person who can solve, who can provide solutions. And I think having a positive mindset helps me do that.
I think so. I think absolutely. I think that's exactly what your clients are paying for. Obviously, your solutions and the value that you offer and the way that you think, but also match that with hope. You've actually giving people hope that there's a brighter future.
Nice person to deal with. If you have 2 consultants and one's super grumpy all the time and one is like just a delight to work with, who do you want to pay money to, right? And so when you think about, if all things were equal, obviously, but what you want to think about too is your clients, the people that in your workshops, the people who are in the rooms you facilitate, the meetings that you host, they all have this experience of you as a leader and how you show up in your community. And this personal brand that you have out in the world, is it associated with positive words? Because with your personal brand, you get a choice of how you show up every day. And it's not just about how you dress or what you say, but it is in the way that you have this presence of how you enter a space. And facilitators and hosts, they know that more than anyone because they set the energy in the room. That's part of their job.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about for our facilitators and hosts, anyone that's even running meetings. How do we set that energy? What are some ideas on, let's just pause there for a moment, because even when you jumped on the call, you've already set the energy like in the pink with your bright smile. Like, is it that easy, Neen?
I think that's a part of it. I think packaging and environment are massive impacts. So when you think about you as the energy in the room, not being woo-woo, like you literally set the energy in the room. And I also believe your energy is contagious. I've always believed that the energy of the room will rise up to meet you. And so if you set the tone of what you're trying to achieve in that meeting, then the room will meet you where you are, but you get to choose that. So before you enter any space, the elevator, the conference room, the meeting room, the Zoom room, the coffee shop, it doesn't matter. You get to choose how you walk in. That presence, how you carry yourself, will also send signals to people about whether you're someone they want to experience. Then I would also think about the packaging of that. What is your personal brand? It is known around the world that I wear pink. And I will literally have conference rooms full of pink. People in conference rooms, ballrooms will walk up to me and say, I wore pink because of you. Like, it's hilarious to me. And so your packaging, the way you present yourself into the world, says something about you. You don't have to wear pink. You don't even have to pick a color. But one of the things that you need to think about is, just like we choose products from a shelf because of their packaging, you are a product in a conference room, in a meeting as a facilitator. So think about the packaging. And then think about engaging the 5 senses. One of the things we talk about in the book, Exceptional Experiences, is that there's a really great way to delight people. And that is, if you want to really provide an exceptional experience for them, engage the 5 senses. Think about taste and smell and sight and sound. As facilitators, we think about the tone of our voice and different accents and music and icebreakers. But are you thinking of the smell of the foods and the smell of the room? And are you talking about these things in your storytelling? Are you making your characters with multiple dimensions? So when you want to think about engaging all the 5 senses, that's an easy way for you to elevate everything.
I really like that. And I definitely, smell is not one I consider at all, but sound can be like one of the biggest things. If there's some background noise or construction, or you can hear people in another room, you can be the best host in the world, and that can really kind of derail it. You also spoke earlier. Oh, yeah. You spoke earlier about language, and I really want to double click that point. This is from the book. Luxury language not only elevates your brand perception, it also encourages client loyalty and advocacy.
Mhm.
First of all, I'll continue, but I'm with you on language and how powerful it can be. Um, the luxury mindset research revealed that specific terms such as bespoke, exquisite, and timeless evoke a sense of sophistication and prestige. So, how are you using language to elevate, I guess, the experiences that you're offering, or how do you advise your clients on using really specific language to, I guess, set the expectation of what's to come?
Luxury language dictionary, you can download some terms from our website, luxuryIsAmindset.com. It's obviously outlined in the book, but you can do that right now. And
Cool.
on that same website, luxuryIsAmindset.com, you can also download digital and analog communication methodologies from the book. So that's all available to all of you listening right now. One of the things you want to think about with language is I can say, I got this, or I can say, I received this. Got sounds cheap, received sound expensive. So depending on how you want to change your language palette, there are words I believe that are cheap and words that I believe are expensive, or words that sound informal, words that sound formal. When we think about language, it's such a beautiful tool we have in our toolkit, because as facilitators, hosts of meetings, as guides and advisors, coaches and consultants, we have this opportunity to use language that can be more inclusive as well. And so one of the things that's really important to me is to ensure we're using really inclusive language, because I think luxury is both inclusive and exclusive. It's inclusive because everyone deserves it. It's for everyone every day. It's exclusive because we can provide these red carpet experiences. So when we use words like bespoke, curated, timeless, one of a kind, behind the scenes exclusive access, we're appealing to certain luxury mindsets. And so certain luxury mindsets like to hear certain things. And so once you know what the luxury mindset is, you can speak their luxury language.
I love it. I'm going to be downloading that guide. I think I just emailed someone yesterday. I'm like, got this. So it's time to change that. I received it. Much
But do
better.
you see the difference in the
Absolutely.
elegance? Now,
Yes.
there's not, if you're all out there saying she's not allowed to say, I got this, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
I'm just trying to just demonstrate a point. If you go to the store and you want to buy t-shirts, you would buy small, medium, large. What's the next size you'd buy, Leah?
Excel.
But what if I said the next size is humongous? You're like, wait, that doesn't sound right. Because words in our language, we have a language palette. Like an artist has a color palette, our language has a palette. When we speak out of language palette, it can be very jarring for the listener. So if I said I'm going to the t-shirt store, I'm going to buy small, medium, large, and humongous, people are like, what? That doesn't make sense. And words take you on a journey. So your job as a host of any kind is to take people on the journey with you as much as you can. So speak in language palette that feels consistent. By the way, when it comes to your slides, you might speak more casually, but you might have formal language on your slides. Formal sounds more expensive. In your proposals to clients, you might have a really casual sales conversation, but your formal proposal might have more expensive language in it. Do you see the difference?
Oh,
So
I
your
love
words
it.
are all really valuable, and they're
Yep.
different for different occasions. You might want to be super approachable for that particular room and have a casual energy. But when it comes to teaching them something, the slides might be more formal, the proposals, the handouts, the documentation for compliance, regulatory, all of those things. So just think about your language as just another tool in your toolkit. And I want to add one more, and that is the luxury language is what I want to add to people's toolkit.
I love that contrast that you talk about. I was actually going to ask you about managing, because like Aussies, we are approachable by nature, by just being
Oh,
born
I
here.
love that.
And
Yes.
so how then do we balance that with being luxury, or portraying a luxury type of mindset? And I think you've just answered that question with you actually can do both. It's that
You can.
contrast actually.
One
That
of the things I love about Aussie is, and I still do this today, I think we're very lazy with our language, meaning
yes.
we don't even complete sentences. We certainly let all our words run together. We shorten everything. We shorten your name the moment we meet you. We don't wear sunglasses because we have sunnies, right? We don't eat breakfast. We have brekkie. And when you try and explain that to people, and I say to them, it's because I'm lazy with my language. As an Australian, we shorten everything. It's familiar, it's kind, it's fun. That's one of the things that makes us unique and easily identifiable in the world. You can take what is truly Australian about you, that beautiful, unique, amazing spirit that you have, but you can also think about using your uniqueness and providing a luxury experience. And remember, luxury is about experiences, not things. So how you make people feel, how they feel valued by you, the attention you give them, your undivided attention, that to some is luxury, because for some, luxury is also perceived in time. So when you're spending time with someone and listening rather than speaking, for some that can be a luxury too, because they feel heard. So there's so many different ways to look at luxury, but I think you can be, like I said, inclusive and exclusive, but don't lose the Aussiness. Now, I get there are extreme Aussiness. In America, they would call it like a redneck. We might say a bogan, like whatever you want. But I mean, that's kind of fun too. And you've got to know your audience, right?
Yes.
So that's one of the things just to think about, is knowing the audience you serve and tailoring and customizing. The thing I love about working with luxury brands is they understand personalization and customization at scale. And we need to think about that as facilitators and hosts. We have to constantly look to how can we personalize and customize this experience, because whoever's in the room is meant to be in the room. So what is the experience you're going to give of them, and how do you make that exceptional, right? Because if you think about it, personalization requires information. We need to know the data points about our room. Customization requires connection. We've got to be able to connect to that audience. But fascination requires anticipation. So are the people in the room anticipating there's going to be a great experience working with you from the moment they see you? Do they get a sense of what that day or that meeting or that workshop's going to be like?
Yeah, and I think there's you can do that really well and then set up an expectation that you then have to deliver on. But I think from what I'm hearing from you, it's not about literally throwing out a red carpet. It is listening and taking time for people, remembering like their coffee order. It could be that simple. Like when someone remembers my coffee order and we haven't caught up for a while, I'm so impressed by that. And I definitely feel seen. And I'm like, their brand in my mind is like, that's incredible. How do you get, I mean, when I hear that you work with clients on creating personalization and customization at scale, I'm like, that's almost like that's a very provocative, it's like, how do you do that? Because by its nature, it seems like a one-on-one thing. So is it like,
you need systems of elevation. We talk about in the book, all these systems of elevation. Let's look to some of the best brands I get to work with. If you look at the Ritz, Hervé Humler, who is one of the co-founders of the Ritz, I've had the privilege of working with him and interviewing him for the book. And one of the things that they're really great at is empowering their team to make decisions for the guest experience. And so they literally have a policy and a budget they're allowed to spend without approval from their boss, up to $2,000 per guest, to really create an experience they'll never forget. So they literally compete with how they can experience each other as team members. The Four Seasons does this as well. And what that shows me is that leadership has decided to empower the team who are at the front lines of that experience to change that for them. The systems that support that is they capture data points about their particular clients. So the Four Seasons Philadelphia, one of my clients, I stay there a lot because I work with Comcast and they're in the same building, right? And what's fascinating is I meet clients there a lot, and the team knows me because I'm on site. And I remember meeting someone for lunch, and they'd already made it to the table. And the people, the maitre d' said, "Miss James, we put them at your table." And they said to my guest, "Neen likes this table because she likes to see the view." That's fascinating. It wasn't just about my experience. They extended it to my guest's experience, who is my client. And so by extension, they created this experience. Now, we can do that if we have customer relationship management systems. You can have index cards for all I care, but have something to capture data points of your clients, what they love and what they don't. To your point about coffee or your dogs when they come up and your barista knows you, that's all experience.
Yeah. And even like going into someone's Instagram and seeing what they've been posting about can give you some intelligence and clues, some strategic stalking.
Sure. Yes. Yes. But see the stories, not just the grid, because my stories are way behind the scenes, no makeup, unfiltered, super fun. And I'm always sharing about all kinds of things. The grid for me is very curated, right? So you've also got to be able to get behind the scenes with people's lives as well. So have a look at what they're commenting on LinkedIn. What are the things that are passionate to them? Where do they get involved in their community? How do they serve? What are the things that are important to them?
Amazing. So many tips here. Hey, Neen, with your book, Exceptional Experiences, what are you hoping to create? What do you want our listener to do after listening to this? Obviously, grab your book, but what kind of impact do you want us to make in the world after reading your latest book?
My goal is to create more of these champagne moments every day where the people around you have these significant moments that you created that mattered for them because you made them feel seen, heard, and valued. That's what I want more of.
Cheers. Cheers to that. If I had some champagne, I would give you a toast. Thank you so much for being on the show again, Neen. Where can we send people? I know you've mentioned a few websites, but just what's the best place to reach out?
Always go to neenjames.com. You'll find everything you need. And for the luxury mindset research study, we'll make sure that's in the show notes. And we'll also include, if you like, a free self-assessment that you can fill out. So I'll give you the link for that in the show notes that people can fill out as well.
Incredible. That sounds all amazing. Neen, thank you so much. We covered a lot of ground today. Thanks for ping-ponging across different topics. Ping-pong's probably a cheap word.
I love it. I love it.
Around. It's been so delightful talking to you. Thanks for being on the show again.
Absolute privilege. Have a great day.
You too.